Welcome to Fabulously Flawed with your host, Marni, where Mondays mean motivation, and by Wednesday, we're dishing out dazzling advice with a Newsweek twist. This is your go-to spot for embracing the mess, celebrating the successes, and never letting anyone dull your sparkle. Join us for laughs, life lessons, and a whole lot of fun. Fabulously Flawed, where perfect is overrated and every flaw is fabulous.
Hey, fabulous friends, fabulous listeners, fabulous everybody. Welcome to Fabulously Flawed. I am your host, Marni, and thank you again for joining me on my Monday episode where Mondays don't have to be miserable, but they can be magical. We can manifest. It's a whole new beginning of a week. Actually, every day, every minute's a new chance to start over. But on Mondays, it's normally that dread. But you don't have to have that dread. Anyway, Happy New Year, everybody. And I can't believe it's 2025. It's just time zoops, flies by. And today's episode, I'm calling it Anxiety. Who doesn't have anxiety? Who doesn't know somebody that has anxiety? We all have some sort of inner turmoil that creates anxiety for us. What anxiety basically is you're not living in the present. We are thinking of the past, or we're trying to foresee the outcome of the future, and it's giving us anxiety because we're not supposed to know the future. What we are supposed to do is just live in the present, the right here and the right now. And it's kind of like somewhat infuriating when people think mental health and physical health is not connected, because we get physical signs that we're not feeling very well. Sometimes we get real sweaty, we get a headache, trembling. I remember before my very first interview I ever did, I didn't know what I was stepping into, and I remember trembling. I couldn't stop. I had to sit on my hands, which is so hard because I talk with my hands, but you become dizzy. There's nauseousness. Oh my gosh. Your heart rate, a lot of urinating. I have a lot of anxious pee. When I get nervous, I am always having to pee, and then headaches and sweating. So all of these physical symptoms cause anxiety. Now, I'm going to give some tips on how to handle some of these. It's called grounding. So, I'm sorry if you heard that. It's called grounding. When you are feeling any of these emotions, you may not even understand why, but you can put yourself back into the present. And there are some tips, and you might know some. The show Monk. If you ever saw Monk, they're the best show. And Tony Shalhoub is just brilliant, but he had such a severe case of pretty much every phobia. And there were a few episodes where he was running to do some of these techniques. So in grounding, I am doing this constantly all day because I am just a walking riddled person with anxiety and constantly saying, stay present, stay present. So when you are feeling any form of panic or any of the symptoms I listed before, find 5 things you can see. So sometimes all of a sudden I'll be talking and I'm darting around the room, looking around, going 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 things you can see. 4 things you can smell. It's very funny sometimes when I'm not realizing I'm being watched and I'm just doing all of these because I take them so seriously. 3 things you can hear. You have to really stop, focus, be present in the moment. 3 things you can hear. Find the 2 things you can touch, which is kind of hard sometimes when it's across the room or across the street and you're just walking, I need to touch something. And 1 thing you can taste, which I usually just swallow and I'm okay. And so those grounding techniques kind of put you in the present. And people always say, but you know what, Marni, I still get anxiety. What can I do? What are some techniques aside from just grounding to get I get rid of the toxicity or how to have a more peaceful life. And I tell people, spend time alone. It's so therapeutical. And I know it is said with the best intentions that if somebody's home and they're enjoying being home and you don't want to leave your safe space, you're just comfortable, you're just overwhelmed, overstimulated, and you have somebody saying, oh, you'll feel better, just go out. What's wrong? It's a beautiful day, just go out. That may work for some, but for some people, being home in their safe space is okay. Neither one is right or wrong. Sometimes anxiety can come upon because we are meeting new people. We could be watching TV shows that scare us. I know certain noises and smells can trigger certain anxiety symptoms with me. The news, I have to turn it. How can any of us watch the news today without this feeling of dread? It is so hard, but anxiety can come from a multitude of different things. So we become, or I know, I become sweaty. My heart starts to race. I get nauseous. Sometimes I have to pee forever and just all of these symptoms. And then I'm like, okay, Marni, let's put in place our grounding. Let's, 5 things I can see, 4 things I can smell, 3 things I can hear. And then I'm like, okay, let's go even deeper. Sometimes I'm constantly pulling the layers off my onions, trying to dissect what's going on. And I realized, okay, people are toxic. I have to get rid of them. And hear me out on this one, guys. Family or not, toxic is toxic. And the one thing, I think I'm going a little off topic here, we need to change the narrative on is, instead of saying, oh, it's still your mother or it's still your father, how about saying, wow, what could a mother or father have done for their child not to speak to them? Reverse it. Just because somebody gives birth to you doesn't mean they are your mother if they don't act like a mother. Not everybody, but for me personally, I have spoken about that when I'm 54 now, and it has haunted me my whole life, and will always be healing from. I've had a lifetime of trauma, a lifetime of unhealed triggers, a lifetime of PTSD, CPTSD. But now I forget where I'm going. Oh my gosh, I am like a maze in my head. Changing the narrative on flipping. Okay, let me go back to where I was. See, I'm not going to stop it because I'm trying to be real, relatable. I'm all over the place. And I think I said I was going off topic and, I don't talk to my mother. That's right. Narcissistic mothers. It has nothing to do. And I've spoken many, many times about when I was 17 and she became addicted to crack. And now I'm 54. So I have lived an entire life with this heavy, dark cloud over me. But honestly, it has nothing to do with what my mother did in the past. It has to do with the present moment. How if I say something wonderful happened, she minimalizes it. The words she uses towards me. And I'm a grown up. I'm like, screw this. I don't have to talk to you. You are not out for my best interest. So if somebody is not good for your mental health, I don't care who it is, got to get rid of them. And the friends sometimes we keep, just because we've known them forever doesn't mean that their behaviors don't change or we change and we grow, and some things are tolerable and some things are not tolerable. But if you have that friend that is the energy sucker, that just every time you talk about something good, they deplete you with why everything could be bad, the Debbie Downers. You say, look at this great new gift I got. Well, but doesn't it take a long time to put together? Like that always negative Nelly. Get rid of it. If you truly want peace, and you are talking to the poster child of rock bottom, doormat, trauma, below basement depths of despair, suicidal ideation, I have suffered a lifetime. But you know what? Being aware, now I know I'm not going to put myself in certain situations. I'm not going to put myself around certain people. Oh, this sound, okay, I cannot be around that sound. Or this smell, I cannot go by that restaurant. I'm aware of every single trigger, and it may be, you may not understand it if you know me. My family, they're just like, I am like, well, you don't have to understand certain things. So if you are out there telling somebody, look, this doesn't make me feel right. I love the offer, but I don't want to go to the state. I guess, loud noises for some people, and that's why they don't go to basketball games, football games. And I love NFL games because multitude of reasons. I can wear sunglasses and a hat, and that's my whole vanity thing. It's just so much easier to go in daylight things versus the Heat arena where they have really bright lights and it's really loud, and I don't like it. I do not like going to the Heat games at all. So I used to go because my husband would say, let's go to the Heat game. I didn't want him to be mad at me. And I went. I wasn't staying true to myself. I was people pleasing. I was miserable. I was overstimulated. I hate the light in there. It was just, I don't like it. So once I became aware, I'm like, oh, no wonder I was so bitchy there. I just don't put myself in those situations anymore. So when you can pay attention to everything around you that brings out the best, the worst, the nerves, anything, pay attention to those, and little by little, you will be able to identify those triggers, how to handle them, how to avoid them, how to navigate them. So guys, that is it, my Monday episode, little Marnivational advice. Please check out our other episodes on Spotify and all other podcast platforms. Taylor is back. She's 25, and we have a whole new season of really fun and fabulous, really over the top. We're neurotic. We are truly neurotic. We put the fun in dysfunction, and I am so excited for you guys to hear our episode tomorrow. Please check out my website, fabulouslyflawed.com, and reach out to me. If you have a question, I will answer it. You want to talk about how angry you are? I'm here to listen. You want to talk about anything? I'm your girl, so call me. So I'm sending everybody so much love, so much peace. Have a magical, marvelous, magnificent, manifest-filled Monday. Love y'all.
Thank you for tuning in to Fabulously Flawed. Remember, every Tuesday and Thursday, it's your time to join Marni and Taylor, the mother-daughter duo that's redefining family time with a twist, putting the fun in dysfunction, one episode at a time. Craving more? Visit us at fabulouslyflawed.com. And don't miss out on the feel-good vibes with our exclusive merch at fabulouslyflawed.net. That's with 2 Ds on Etsy. Keep your sparkles shining and spread that fabulous energy.